And there it is. The Dallas Mavericks secure their spot in the NBA championship. That is probably going to be the Boston Celtics. I mean, we have our finals now. The Mavericks versus the Boston Celtics. And I mean, honestly, am I surprised? Honestly, no. Because I mean, if you watch the game tonight, you probably are thinking what I'm thinking. Like, the Mavericks just tonight played like the better team. Do I think the Mavs are better in this matchup? I do. I'm not saying overall they're a better team, but in this matchup, they're gonna win more games than they lose. And yeah, I mean, it's not a lie. It's not very surprising to me when I look at everything and the Wolves are down 3 games to 0, especially with the closers the Mavericks got. It just stinks. As a Timberwolves fan, it just stinks because, you know what, you had a great season, and it's just come up short. It just stinks, you know. Like, they honestly did a lot of things right throughout this year. You got a solidified superstar in Anthony Edwards. He's very, like, obviously still young, but it's just one of those things against Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving. You basically have to play perfect. And when the role players for the Mavericks step up like they did tonight, I mean, Derrick Jones Jr. 3 of 3 from deep, Josh Green 1 of 1 from deep. I mean, PJ Washington 2 of 6, but played really well as well. It's just, you're in for a long night. You are absolutely in for a long night. And I got to give the Wolves some credit. They battled back in that second half. Even took a lead late in that, in the fourth quarter, I think they had a lead. Just a quick one. What were they? Up 2 points or something. But at the end of the day, I mean, the Dallas Mavericks are the real deal, especially in this type of a matchup. You know, like, they put Gobert in tough situations. It just does not work out. Cat's just not found it in the last 3 games. And it's to the point, like, I know Cat's a good shooter, but shooting is one of those things, you either hot or you're not. And he is not hot right now. And it's just tough for the Timberwolves. You know, Kyle Anderson played really, really, really well tonight. Nas was pretty good. Nikhil was pretty good overall tonight. But when Ant has the first half like he did, Cat played overall like he did, you're just not going to win very many games. Now, Derek Lively, hopefully he's okay. Like, that knee to the head looked pretty rough, so hopefully he's okay. I want to see him healthy, especially heading into the NBA Finals, because that duo with Gafford is absolutely elite. But Luka and Kyrie are special, and I don't like Luka. I'll be the first to say it. I don't like the way he does some things, but I'll be realistic and say he's so good. He's a top 3 for sure player in the NBA, and I think that's without question. And he's proven it. You know what? Putting so much pressure on the defense, the way he manipulates the pick and roll. I mean, he walks the ball up the court. They get into their action with 10 seconds, but he's so comfortable. You know what? One pick and roll, he's gonna get the shot he wants. And he's just so tough to defend against. And tonight he had 5 steals as well. Did it on both ends of the court. And, I mean, look, I'll save game 4 and whenever that happens, whenever the Wolves get swept for later. And we'll break down the Mavs and Celtics series. But I do think Boston has what it takes to beat the Mavs. I actually think they'll beat them in 5 or so games. I'm not hating on the Mavs. That's just my respected Boston. But, man, I got to be honest, as a Timberwolves fan, I didn't see the Wolves going down 3 games to 0. I just didn't. And obviously, they probably should have at least won game 2 when they were up 18 points. But a lot of credit goes to Dallas, man. They're taking care of business. They're doing what they need to do. Kyrie is absolutely hooping. And they just make tough shots. And there's nothing more demoralizing than when a team makes tough shots. For example, like, even with the Timberwolves, it's a momentum shift when Anthony Edwards gets a big-time dunk and then hits 2 back-to-back tough contested shots. You could see the momentum shift. It just was after that. They never really seemed to find their footing once again. Couldn't make timely shots, and here we are on the verge of getting swept. It's tough. It really is. And again, the officials, I don't think won or lost the Wolves this game. And honestly, as a Wolves fan, I would say overall, the Wolves maybe slightly benefited compared to the Mavericks. Outside of the technical foul, I thought the technical foul was very, very weak, very soft. But overall, the officials, I mean, they were bad, but they were indifferent. Like, they were bad for both teams. So, like, obviously, like, they didn't win or lose anybody the game, but I just wish they'd let them play a little more. Like, the whole third quarter was so stagnant with free throws. I mean, I can look at the free throws number. The Dallas Mavericks shot 31 free throws tonight. That's just, that's tough. That's tough. You're not going to win on the road with them shooting 31 free throws and the Stars playing like they did. So, honestly, I give all credit to the Dallas Mavericks. They have a very, very, very very good backcourt. And I know somebody said it already, and I agree. They have the best offensive backcourt I've at least ever seen, and I think in the history of the game. You look at Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic. Who is a better backcourt than those two? Honestly, like, those two in the backcourt is so dangerous because you load up on Kyrie. It happened a couple of times. They load up too much on Kyrie, swing it over to Luka, and he did a 30-foot three-pointer. It's just like, what do you do? I told you after game 2, I don't have any answers for these guys, and I don't think the Wolves do either. I do not think the Timberwolves have any answers. So I know the statistic, like teams are 0 whatever, 110, whatever the stat is when they're down 3 games to 0. And it's going to be 0 and whatever one more is because this series is as good as over. And it just stinks. You know what? The Timberwolves did have a fun season. They had a good season. They just met a team that, you know what, is good. Like, is good and is a tough matchup. And I even feel a little bad for Rudy Gobert because it's like he is a good defender. And half the times he gets switched on to players, he gets a pretty good contest. Like he played good one-on-one defense in a matchup with Kyrie Irving. But those guys take it personal. They're going to make it their mission to score every single time. And it just is over with when that happens. So, I mean, when you look at the Timberwolves, Jaden McDaniels throughout this series has been so good. Naz Reid is so good. Kyle Anderson is so good throughout this series. But when your best players, and Ant, Gobert, and Cat are all having a below-average series. Cat, a awful series. Ant, a pretty awful series outside of this game. It's just going to be tough to win. So, I don't know. It is what it is as a Timberwolves fan. I've accepted, what it is at this stage. You know what? The series is over. But it's been a fun series. So, like, obviously, again, I'll recap it after game 4 or 5, whenever, if they sweep us or a gentleman sweep. And then we'll break down the Dallas-Boston matchup. But it is what it is. The Wolves had a good season. I actually think they have a really talented roster. It just is tough. When it's a close game at the end of the game versus the Dallas Mavericks, it's tough to close them out. It absolutely is tough to close them out. And even, again, without Derek Lively, who's been fantastic during this series, they still found a way to get the job done. Kyrie Irving, 33 points. Luka Doncic, 33 points on really, really, really good efficiency. So, I genuinely, as a Wolves fan, I don't know what the coaching staff, I have no suggestions, like absolutely no suggestions at all. It's like, what do you do? What do you do? I have absolutely no idea. And it's painful when I look at Luka's shooting statistics. Like, obviously, overall in the Oklahoma City Thunder series, he was pretty good. But 3 of the games, he was 1 of 8 from deep, 1 of 4 from deep, and 2 of 9 from deep. Obviously, it's a different defender and all those things. But it's like, I feel like versus the Timberwolves, he is just shooting the ball with such efficiency, so is Kyrie Irving, and it just puts so much pressure on the whole defense in their defensive game plan. So, credit to Dallas, man. I gotta admit, I didn't think Dallas was capable, or was, I don't want to say capable, but was this good. I never would have predicted them to make the NBA championship ever. And I know they were hot coming into the playoffs, but I still would have never predicted it. The thing that impresses me most with the Mavericks is their defense, man. Their defense is really, really solid. So, honestly, I think they could give the Celtics, a good couple of games, but I still think the Celtics just overall have too much talent. And, Drew Holiday, I think, is one of the best defenders in the NBA, especially, I think he's a good match for Luka Doncic with his build as well. So, thank you, fans. Like, as the Timberwolves need to tweet out right now, thank you, fans. This series is over, and it was a fun series. I'm a Timberwolves fan. It was a fun series. It was a fun season. And you know what? It's been 3 fun games so far. Obviously, the Wolves came up short in each and every one of them, but they've been fun games, close and competitive, the opposite of the Denver Nuggets series. So, again, this backcourt of Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic is an absolute problem. They figured out how to play with each other, figured out how to play with the supporting cast, and they are going to be a problem, not only for this year, but probably years to come. Those guys can absolutely get the job done. I don't know where you go. Obviously, if you're the Timberwolves here, obviously you fight back, try to say, let's get one, and then go get one at home, and then the series is 3-2, but this series is over. If the Wolves coaches don't want to say it to their players, I'll be the one to say it. This series is over with. That's going to wrap it up. Let me know your thoughts on the series. Kyrie, Luka, are absolute studs. Drop a like on it, subscribe if you are new, and as always, man, I love you guys. Have a blessed day.